Hey, Commanders fans, tune in because we have some very important information coming and you need to know everything about it. Here on the channel, you'll find all the latest news about our team, with breaking news and everything a true Commanders fan needs to know. So, first of all, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because here you'll receive everything firsthand and never be out of date. Oh, and leave your like right now to strengthen this incredible community and show that Commanders fans are always there. Without further ado, hold on tight, because today's news is unmissable. Now, let's get straight to the point. $97 million cornerback is considered the highest paid player on the Commanders roster. There's something to be said for saying the quiet part out loud. In the case of the Washington Commanders, that means addressing what could be one of the NFL's worst contracts in 2025. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon called veteran cornerback Marshon Lattimore the highest paid player on the Commanders roster in 2025. The four-time Pro Bowler is scheduled to make $18 million in 2025 and $36.5 million over the final 2 seasons of the 5-year, $97.6 million contract extension he signed with the New Orleans Saints in September 2021. Lattimore's lofty number is something the Commanders knew all too well when they acquired him from the Saints at last season's trade deadline. Lattimore didn't suddenly bounce back into a new setting down the stretch in 2024, and that's unlikely to change given that he hasn't really been a reliable presence in the NFL since 2021, Gagnon wrote. The 28-year-old's best days are behind him, but he'll cost Washington $18 million as the league's 8th highest-paid cornerback in 2025. Lattimore played in just 2 of a possible 8 regular season games after the trade, but he was on the roster for all 3 of Washington's postseason games en route to the franchise's first NFC Championship game since 1991. With the Commanders entering 2025 as clear Super Bowl contenders, General Manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn need to figure out whether Lattimore and his massive salary cap hit are worth it. Lattimore could still be a salary cap victim. On paper, it makes sense to release Lattimore and recoup all $18 million in cap space, money that could likely land them a decent cornerback and safety in the remainder of the free agent market or draft. That said, the optics of trading for a player with 2 years left on his contract and then cutting him at the first opportunity they get aren't great. Washington needs to be a free agent destination for the next few years. Getting a bad rap in NFL player circles is definitely not the play. From Bleacher Report, it wouldn't necessarily be a great process for the Commanders to cut Marshon Lattimore. They traded a 3rd, 4th, and 6th-round pick for Lattimore and a 5th before this year's trade deadline. Turning around and releasing him in the offseason wouldn't be a good idea. If they're not confident he can be healthy and play at a high level, then they could release him and take the full $18 million hit to the salary cap. The best solution might be to try to get Lattimore to restructure the remaining money on his contract and take a big cut. Either void the final year of his contract and get all $18 million this year, or restructure it so that he's only owed $20 million over the next 2 seasons. 49ers star WR with Commanders ties could be traded. The Washington Commanders may consider a potential trade while the San Francisco 49ers evaluate their options with wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. Under General Manager Adam Peters and new management, the Commanders have the resources and financial flexibility to consider adding another playmaker to their offense. NBC Sports' Matt Maiocco reported that President of Football Operations / General Manager John Lynch is keeping his options open regarding Aiyuk. "You get calls and you always hear calls," Lynch said last month at the NFL Scouting Combine when asked specifically about the possibility of a trade involving Aiyuk. According to Maiocco, Aiyuk will receive a guaranteed option bonus of $22.855 million on April 1st, and with the 49ers working to reduce their long-term salary cap obligations, eliminating that payment would be in line with their financial strategy. The 49ers have already taken steps to free up cap space, particularly to prepare for a contract extension for quarterback Brock Purdy, among other moves. With those major financial commitments on the horizon, trading Aiyuk could provide relief. For the Commanders, acquiring Aiyuk would give quarterback Jaden Daniels another proven target. One factor to consider in any trade is Aiyuk's health. The receiver suffered a torn ACL and MCL in Week 7 against the Kansas City Chiefs, putting his availability for the start of the 2025 season in question. The upcoming NFL annual meeting in Palm Beach, Florida, which begins March 30th, provides an opportunity for in-person trade discussions. The Commanders could have a chance to push for a deal before the April 1st deadline. As the deadline approaches, all eyes will be on Washington and Peters to see if he makes a move. Commanders urge to trade for $25 million Super Bowl champion DE. At the two most important defensive positions on the field, the Washington Commanders now have more questions than answers. At cornerback, Marshon Lattimore is set to make $36.5 million over the final 2 years of his contract. Though he has done little to produce that kind of value and is arguably no longer capable of being a team's lockdown cornerback. At edge rusher, the Commanders let their NFC East rival, the Dallas Cowboys, steal their 2024 sack leader, Dante Fowler, on a one-year, $6 million deal. This begs the question, what is going on with the front office, and why can't the Commanders deliver this offseason? Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon thinks the Commanders could get back on track by trading for undervalued Cleveland Browns edge rusher and Super Bowl champion Ogbo Okoronkwo. Adding another dedicated edge rusher to help replace Fowler would be sensible, Gagnon wrote. Making a move for Trey Hendrickson would also be logical for the Commanders. They should also take a long look at Ogbo Okoronkwo from the Cleveland Browns this offseason. The Browns signed Okoronkwo to a 3-year, $19 million contract during the 2023 offseason, but have kept him in a rotational role since then. He's likely to remain in that role after Cleveland signed Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and the Browns may view him as expendable. From Big 12 superstar to Super Bowl champion, the 6'2", 245-pound Okoronkwo was a 2-time All-Big 12 selection and the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year at Oklahoma in 2017 before the Los Angeles Rams selected him in the 5th round, number 160 overall, of the 2018 NFL Draft. He missed his rookie season after foot surgery, but played 3 more seasons with the Rams, playing a major role on special teams, including winning a Super Bowl following the 2021 season, before playing 1 season with the Houston Texans in 2022. In 1 season in Houston, Okoronkwo set career highs in games played 17, starts 8, tackles 44, sacks 5.0, and TFL 9. He parlayed that into a 3-year, $19 million free agent deal with the Browns ahead of the 2023 season, and in a strictly part-time role with the Browns over the past 2 years has 7.5 sacks, while playing less than 50% of his team's defensive snaps. After the end of the 2025 season, Okoronkwo will have approximately $25.2 million in career earnings. Browns are one of the worst franchises in the NFL. Being traded from Cleveland might be one of the best things that ever happened to Okoronkwo professionally. That's because the Browns are consistently one of the worst franchises in the NFL and are coming off a miserable 3-14 season in 2024. We don't have to look much further than Cleveland's recent free agent signings to see where many of the problems lie. A glaring example is the signing of Tryon-Shoyinka, a former first-round pick, to a 1-year, $4.75 million deal despite already having Okoronkwo in the mix. Even at that low salary, it's an overpayment for a player who left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with such a poor impression on the field that they not only declined his 5th-year option before the 2024 season, but also didn't lift a finger to bring him back in 2025, despite being desperate for edge rushers.